Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motor Chaos. We're live with top alcohol driver Chris Demke. How's it going, Chris?
Not bad, Dave. How are you?
Not bad. So, how'd you do on the weekend?
Oh, last weekend, where was I? Chicago. Wasn't too bad of a weekend. Car ran great. Tuner Kevin Watson's got a great handle on things.
Yes, you're at Route 66 in Joliet, Illinois.
Yeah, we were there for the regional race. We hit Indy the weekend before for a regional as well. Trying to think, it was hot out. Oh man, I love coming back to the Midwest to race, but I'll tell you what, I like coming back to the West Coast too to get out of that humidity. But the people are great back there. That racetrack in Chicago is a first class facility. It is one of the best on the series. Great track, great facility. I really like racing there. In fact, Chicago's been good to my team and I over the years. I think I have 4 national events there, but I don't think I've won a regional there yet. So I still got that on the list to check off.
Yeah, this Friday's supposed to be cause I'm about a little over an hour away from Route 66 in Joliet, so it's gonna be like 98 this Friday.
Oh my God, that's a what I think it was low 90s and probably 60% humidity when I was out there last weekend, and it was tough. Believe me, putting on a fire suit in that kind of heat and humidity can really take a lot out of you. You got to love it, or it'll just beat you down. So.
Now you ran there Saturday and Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Friday, Saturday.
Flew in Thursday night. Brought my girlfriend, Cookie Karen Prim, and one of my crew guys, Jason Carson. We all traveled out together. The rig was already there since we had raced the weekend before in Indy. And my brother-in-law, Kevin, and my sister, Amy, were out there in their motorhome. And stepdad, team owner, Jerry Madden, he stayed between the two races as well.
Yeah, I know Saturday you guys were combined with the Burn Down and Sundown Jet Show.
Yeah, great show. I love jet cars. And, it's that kind of good show that the track operator puts on for that event. He's got a name, Burn Down and Sundown, brings in some jet cars. There was a band playing out in the pits. Lots of good food, lots of good people. It really is a great show, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Awesome. So let me ask you this question, Chris. Let's go back now. How did you get into drag racing, and what year did you start drag racing?
So, yeah, really our team, if you've ever heard us, we call our team Madden Racing. Well, that's the last name of the team owner, my stepdad, Jerry Madden. He's the driving force behind this team. And, as a kid, he got into drag racing. He was an engine builder for an engine shop and started racing with his buddy Jerry Dixon. And, then he took time off to start up a business, got the business running, got things all nice and comfy. And then about 1989, after he married my mom, he asked me what I thought about going drag racing again. And what was I going to say? Of course, I said yes. And so he took me out to a guy's shop who owned a car that he wanted to buy. They let me sit in it while he started it up. And I'm thinking, oh, hell yeah, this is going to be great fun to drive. Well, so Jerry buys the car, but my mom tells me, oh, this is great, we can go racing, but nobody in the family gets to drive it. And that was just like a kick in the nuts, But I, it didn't deter me. I stuck by Jerry. We started racing, Top Gas West. It's like a little local series out here on the West Coast. We had a guy by the name of Les Hall driving for us. It was pretty much run what you brung, but you had to run gasoline. And the cars all ran, high sixes or so. It was a lot of fun, kind of introduced us to racing because, while Jerry had done it, I hadn't done it. My brother Mikey hadn't really been drag racing. I'll tell you what, the first time we got this thing together in the shop and started it up, here's a supercharged gasoline 390 iron block 392 with headers. We start the thing up inside the shop. I've never been exposed to anything as loud as that in person. And the idle wasn't set correctly, so we started up. It's idling at like 3,500 RPM. It was loud as shit, dude. I'm telling you. I ran and hid behind the toolbox. So that was kind of my trial by fire start for NHRA on TV. We had his older brother driving for us for about a year and a half or so. Then we got a guy named Daryl Time crewing for the team and kind of learning how drag racing works. And I think all in all, that's made me a better driver when I got the opportunity to get in behind the wheel.
So now, what year did you get licensed for a alcohol dragster?
So I was lucky enough I got a Supercop license. I went to the Frank Hawley Drag Racing School. My brother and I did that in 1998. And that kind of exposed me to, some pretty good acceleration. Those cars, Supercop is 8.9 second index. The cars at Hawley were running 850s, 860s without a throttle stop. And it's like, a small block Chevy with 600 horsepower, sub 2,000-pound car. Anyway, it was a good kick in the butt. I had fun with it. But the first time I got my license in the alcohol car in 2000. And I'll tell you what, I'm glad I got to do the Supercop thing, because the first time I popped the clutch on that alcohol dragster,
he said you coached him and you signed his license.
That's right. Absolutely. I think I saw Tony. It was Indy 2 weeks ago. I saw Tony again. He was with the team pitted next to us, helping out, and he's absolutely right. I gave him some coaching. He was licensing at a race one weekend, and when you get your license, you have to have 3 drivers with an equivalent license or better at the track as witness, and they sign off on each run that you make to say it was a good run. If you go out there and you screw up in some way, shape, or form, the guys may not, the other drivers may not sign off on you. So Tony did a great job. I was happy to sign off on his license. And hey, Tony, I guess you're listening. Hope things are well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Tony on the show pretty soon.
Right on. He's a great dude.
He told me I don't got much to talk about, but I'll get him to talk.
Right on.
So now, what was I gonna ask you? Throughout your career, have you had any accidents or close calls at all?
Plenty of close calls, more than I'd like to admit. But I have crashed twice. Yeah, crashed I first started driving in 2002. By 2004, I'd won my first event, and that's no testament to my driving. That's more about the quality of the car and the team I had surrounding me. By 2004, I was winning regional or division races, is what they were at the time. Won the division championship, the Division 7, the Southwest Division championship that year. 2005 started off, really good. Won like 3 more division races in a row, and I think my head got kind of big. I got cocky, thinking I knew what I could do, knew what was going on. Thought I was in charge, and it was qualifying at the Sonoma Divisional. I believe it was June 3rd. July 1st. It was a Friday at Sonoma. First round of qualifying, and I put the thing in the wall at half track. And I just overdrove the car. I don't even remember it. I have video from a guy in the stands, but all I remember is getting strapped in. I was about 3 cars back. So in the other wall backwards. I think in the initial impact, my helmet rotated forward, exposing the back of my head. When the car then spun around and hit the other wall backwards, the exposed back of my head went up against a roll cage and knocked me out, gave me a pretty good concussion. And in a manner of speaking, kind of thankfully wiped any memory I had of the crash. So while I was banged up, and because I had a concussion, I had to sit out for 6 months for the rest of the season. But it really taught me a lesson. You got to respect the horsepower. That thing's in charge. I'm just there for the ride, giving it hints which way to go. But that car's going to do what it wants, and you just got to learn to respect it, or it'll teach you who's boss. So that was my first crash. I don't know if I went a little deep there. I just had another one a couple of years back up at Seattle Regional back in 2016, and this one's on video. A pretty good video from the starting line. Once again, driver error of the qualifying run. I overdrove the car, smoked the tires a couple times, thought I could steer it. I should have just lifted, but the car hooked up into the wall, bounced around, hit the other wall. I ended up sliding upside down backwards through, for a good, oh my God, what was it? For a good 800 feet, just watching the sparks fly off the roll cage, wondering when is this thing going to stop. And one of the biggest problems I had from my first crash, I had never had claustrophobia before. But somehow after my first crash, even though I was knocked out, I got claustrophobia. When I got back in the car the season after in 2006, I had to really fight it and learn some good good mind control, some mind control to calm myself down. It took me about 6 months to get through it, and it hadn't been a problem until I crashed again, because I would do this deep breathing exercise when I was strapped in just to calm myself down, but it kind of went away. Anyway, I crashed again 10 years later, sliding upside down and backwards down the track, looking at the sparks flying. I finally stopped, and I try to get out. Well, I'm hanging upside down in the car. I try to move my head forward. My Hans device is catching on the roll cage, so I'm kind of hanging there, restricted, and I felt the panic creeping in, and I had this split second of, holy crap, I don't know if anybody's felt that, but it's a terrifying feeling. I quickly thought back to my deep breathing exercise and did a couple of deep breaths, thought, okay, Safety Safari is going to be here any moment. These guys are going to take care of you. And they, sure enough, within a couple seconds, they were there, got me out, and that one I was conscious for through the whole time. And but once again, taught me a lesson. I got to reel it in. And I've been criticized for my driving style sometimes. I'll drive a dragster like a funny car in a manner of speaking. Most of the time I get away with it. 2 times I didn't. And when that happens, I try to reel it in, try to remember I'm not Superman, and the car will kill me if I'm not careful. So, it'll teach you a lesson. Hopefully I can keep my head about me.
Well, those accidents are a testament to how good these cars are built for safety, I guess, huh?
Oh, isn't that the truth? I'm glad you brought that up, because I often will try to tell people, and I know and understand that racers have given life and limb for the safety equipment that have kept me alive through both those incidents. And, my heart goes out to those who have lost loved ones in racing, but I'm so appreciative of the safety equipment and how good it is, what a great job NHRA does with safety. A lot of times a new safety rule comes out, and I realize racing's expensive, and a lot of guys, a lot of teams are doing it on a tight budget, and when new safety requirements come out, it may be challenging and financially challenging to get that stuff installed, but I don't think twice about it. And I'll admit, I'm not the one paying for it. That's Jerry Madden. It's his team. But he doesn't sacrifice either. He understands, and anytime some new safety requirement comes out, he'll be one of the first guys getting that product on the car. And,
So now, Chris, after all these years of doing drag racing now, what still keeps you passionate about doing it?
Oh, I could talk for an hour about that. I mean, there's so many things. I love drag racing. Jerry brought me up from a young kid to, he was taking me out to Irwindale and Orange County and all these places. I grew up with it. And I often tell people, no matter how bad the weather or how bad a weekend we're having, wherever we are, we're drag racing, there's no place else I'd rather be, win or lose. It's just, I love the competition. The people are great. It's almost like a little family reunion every race you go to. All our race teams, we're like a traveling band of gypsies, and it's like an extended family. You go out to a race, you see some new people, you see the other teams, you haven't seen them in a while. Like I said, a little family reunion. We generally would always be racing on the West Coast, and I love all the teams on the West Coast. They're great people, but Jerry has decided to race the North Central region this year, so we're spending. We already had kind of done this earlier, but not as an official thing, but we're officially racing North Central region, so we're spending a lot of time back in the Midwest, in the Chicago, Indianapolis, raced in Columbus, Ohio. We would have been at the 2 Norwalk races this year, but due to parts attrition, had to bring the rig home and get it fixed. But anyway, what I'm getting at is we're hanging out a lot more with the race teams in the Midwest this year, and once again, they're wonderful people. The NHRA guys, the division director for what I guess it would be Division 5. I try to think of it in regional terms, but for the North Central region, the division director and all of his crew, they're a great bunch of people. They thank us for coming all that way. They know there's an extra cost and effort to that, and they show their appreciation. And it's expanded our family, so to speak. That we're out there hanging out with kind of a newer crowd, and I really enjoy seeing them. We brought the rig back after the race this weekend, and we're going to do some service on it, get it ready, head out to Brainerd, Minnesota for the national event there. Maybe hit, what's the one in Kentucky? Bowling Green. We're going to try to do Brainerd, Bowling Green, and then Indy. And I hear that race in Bowling Green, while it's a great track, that time of year, the weekend before Labor Day, can just be the hottest, most humid time. So I got to get myself in good shape and ready for that humidity and get ready to go what was it? I had a crew chief, Adam Rose. He used to say, "Go ruin some weekends." Or I don't even know what I'm saying. What the hell? Adam had this phrase. He had all kinds of things. I miss Adam. He was our crew chief through some great successful years earlier, and but things we had to go our part ways and do our own thing. But had a great time with Adam, and I know he's doing good, and maybe him and I will get back together at some later time in our lives.
All right. So now, when you first got into drag racing, were there any drivers out there that were inspirational to you back then?
Oh, from the get-go, way back when we first started racing with Spike Gore, Louis Gasparelli. Spike and Ralph were pretty good friends with him. And we just started racing NHRA competition in '93, and I remember one Saturday night drinking beers after qualifying, and we were either over in Louis' pit or he was in ours, and Louis came up and put his arm around me and said, "Hey, buddy, any friend of Ralph and Spike's a friend of mine, so anything you need, you don't hesitate to ask." And man, I'm going to tell you what, that just touched me so much. I really appreciate it. A guy with a name like Lou Gasparelli to come in and just open up to me like that just made me, that was what started my love of the NHRA racing family. So Louis was a guy that, that really kind of eased my way into the whole thing, made me feel welcome to come. And of course, Spike and Ralph Gore, great, smart guys, taught me about fuel systems and gave me, introduced me to drag racing fuel systems, and gave me the knowledge that I've grown upon today. Driver-wise, Darren Nicholson, our driver through the late '90s and into 2000, he was my teacher. He was really the guy who taught me how to drive one of these, and I can't ever emphasize how appreciative I am to Darren for that. And not lastly, but the next guy I think of is Mark Niver. He was an A-Field dragster. He'd been racing forever and built his own parts. He was like just the classic drag racer. He built his car. He had, he used a Donovan block with heads that he had made, and he used those cylinder heads until NHRA mandated you had to use something that was available to everybody. But that man could build anything. And I miss Mark. It's coming up on about 10 years where I think it was my second national event win, and I want to talk about this, but I apologize if I get choked up. My second national event win came at the not expense, but Niver crashed and died that weekend in the semifinals. He'd have been the guy I'd be racing in the final round, and it was a tough time. I ended up, he was the pair right in front of me, and he won that round. He hit his chutes broke off, and the poor guy went into the net, and he killed it. And so I just took a green. I didn't even run my round. My race. I had a bye, so I wasn't racing anybody. I just took a green, shut it off, went up to the tower, told them, hey, can we just pass on doing a final round here? And Graham Light said it was okay. So I just went and got my trophy, didn't do any victory circle pictures, but at Adam Rhodes' advice, I went and took the trophy over. Oh, sorry, I'm choking up again. But I took that trophy over and gave it to Niver's family because he was the last guy to get a win like that day.
Wow.
Does it give me a moment here? But anyway, that was a tough moment, but it really taught me how to appreciate every run I make down that track. So, You take it from here. Give me about 10 seconds or so. I'll come back.
No, you're all right. Now, do any of the big guys inspire you out there, like top fuel dragster drivers out there?
Rick Santo. You mean like current day guys? Of course. There's Frank Manzo. Good old Frankie. He's the greatest. He came by. It was funny. So my crew chief tuner Kevin Watson. I think it was last weekend or weekend before at Indy. Frank Manzo was there, and I don't know what he was doing, what car he was tuning. I just seen him there, and apparently he came up and said hi to Kevin out on the starting line or something, and kind of asked Kevin what he thought. And Kevin came to me later and said, "Man, you know you've made it if Frank Manzo will come over and ask you what you think." And I love Frankie. Such respect for that guy. I don't know how many championships did that guy win. I mean, when you own, I don't know anybody that owned it like Frank Manzo owned that category. Just an amazing thing, and such a nice guy to this day. You can go up and chat with them, and he'll tell you the truth. He doesn't put on an act or anything. So Frank Manzo's a good one. But there's, I don't even know what to tell you. Off of drivers, I saw on Facebook, I think it was today or yesterday, the son of a guy named Ora Vasquez. And some of you will know him, some of you won't. Ora Vasquez I think he drove back in the day, but he got into tuning, became a crew chief and tuner. And this guy, kind of like Mark Niver was with motors, and I'm sure Ora could build motors and so forth, but he made little gadgets and tools. I mean, little tools. I use one to this day, this little jet tool for changing the main jet in an Enderley barrel valve. It's a piece of wood with I think it's a 3/8 or a bigger 3/8 bolt stuck through, and the end of the bolt has been fashioned into a slotted standard screwdriver. On the other end, he's put a bolt a socket that's I think 9/16 or 5/8 or whatever. It's the size to pull the cap out to get to the main jet. So in this one tool, you got everything you can need to change your main jet. That guy made so many little pieces like that. He was the drag racer, or the crew chief guy. He just made so many cool little pieces, and every year on his birthday or on the anniversary of his passing, his son gets on there and does this nice thing that makes us all remember. But Ora Vasquez, he's just one of those guys that if you needed it, he could build it, and he just made the job of running and operating one of these race cars that much easier. So, Aura, we miss you, and thank you for all the great things you did.
So now, Chris, who are all the sponsors of the Dragster?
Well, so our primary sponsor, Peenwright Incorporated, Peenwright Abrasive Finishing Company, they do shot peening, sandblasting, all that kind of stuff. They're really the primary. We have a great oil sponsor. We use Boost Performance Products. Is a provider of Clean Boost oils. Any of you racers out there that have seen or heard of Clean Boost, Boost Performance Products is the retail arm of where you would acquire where you'd acquire Clean Boost oil. We put that stuff in our car, and it is just one of the best lubricants you could find out there. Boost Performance is run by this awesome guy, Brett Gines. He's my buddy. He takes care of us with the oil. Brett Winberg is the Clean Boost guy. He has this top secret formula that he keeps under lock and key, and whatever it is, you can turn your motor up that extra notch and just beat on it, and that oil will keep that thing running great. So anyway, Boost Performance Products, the retail arm of getting Clean Boost oil. That's our oil sponsor. Haven't had any other tire on than tuner. He was car chief back when Adam was on the team, so he's doing double duty, taking care of the car, doing the tuning duties, and man, that guy can swap a motor faster than anybody I know in the category. He loves pressure. If things are slow and boring, he's out of his element, man. But when the chips are down, there's nobody else I'd like turning wrenches on that car than Kevin Watson. He knows what to do. He's always thinking 3 steps ahead. He does just a wonderful job. He took over that tuning job from Adam when Adam left the team, and it was a struggle. Adam and I had a great thing going. We somehow had this. I don't know. We worked well together. When Adam left, Kevin took over. He struggled initially because it's not easy. It's not just figuring out what to do. It's a pressure job, man. Taking that car to the starting line and getting it to go A to B as fast as you can. It is hard. You're always second guessing yourself. And and I had to work with him. I was used to working with Adam, so it was tough on me trying to adapt to Kevin as well. And but 3 years later, we've had our ups and downs. But based on the performance we've had so far this year, I'm going to say everything is going in a very positive manner. Kevin is showing his understanding of that car is advancing in leaps and bounds. At the race last weekend in Chicago, that car did not shake the tires one time. It went A to B every run, except for when I lost in the semis. But that wasn't the tune-up. The points box went bad, started dropping cylinders. But anyway, he had that car dialed in. Like I said, it's a tough job. Kevin is really picking it up, and I think both he and I and the rest of the crew see the strong potential for more wins coming up real quick. Behind Kevin would be Tim Bucher. He's the kind of the main motor guy. Tim lives in Columbus, Ohio. He is the son of I can't remember his dad's name. His dad drove a top fuel dragster in the 70s. He was the most successful guy with a big block Chevy in his top fuel dragster. And so Tim has some real history in drag racing. He crewed on Don Garlett's team when Garlett's made a comeback in the mid-'80s. So Tim knows what he's doing. He's great fun to hang out with. And helping Tim is a new guy that we have, Jacob Carson. He's I started calling him the kid initially. He's 26, maybe 27, I think. Anyway, Jacob came on the crew late last year. I call him, he's 26, but we call him the kid because he's the youngest guy on the team because we're all just a bunch of old fogies. But Jacob loves racing. He's got a hot rod Honda that he races around. Well, he doesn't. I don't want to say he races. He drives around the street, but he has a real passion for cars. He's loving going on the road and just getting his hands dirty. He's picking it up really quick. Yeah, so, Jacob, I really appreciate your effort. I see a strong future for you with the team. Behind him, we got, I don't say behind him. I'm just trying to list them all. They're all sort of peers. Robert Hadler is our clutch guy. He also drives the rig. Some of you may not know the name Robert Hadler. He also goes by Goat Man. I'm not even going to go into why we call him Goat Man, but the Goat, maybe you can think of him as Goat. Goat Man likes to say Goat stands for greatest of all time. I'd question that, but hey, the guy's a legend in his own mind. So, love you, Robert. He drives the rig. He does the clutch. Kind of takes care of all that kind of stuff. He's been with the team a couple of years. He was with us back in the early 90s when Darren was driving for a couple of years. Then he left and came back again a couple of years ago. And he does a great job as well. We also have my little sister, Amy. She helps out with the team, sometimes drives the tow vehicle. She does a lot of our marketing and so forth. But she also dresses the team. So, if anybody pays attention, we changed our shirt design from this gray shirt that had the typical Madden uniform of oil and grease stains all over it. After that typical Madden outfit was a gray shirt with the Peenright logo on the back, and it would just be dirty as hell on the front. Anyway, Amy wisely decided to put us all in black shirts a couple years ago, and it's working out real well. She had the current wrap was she has helped with the design and had that all done, so she's doing a great job as well. When available, I also get to bring my wonderful girlfriend, Karen Cookie Prem. If you ever see her hear me talk about Cookie, that's Karen, my life partner. And maybe someday I'll do the deed and marry her like I should. But for now, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, my significant other. I like he's got a good. She keeps her priorities straight, unfortunately, because the rest of us punks who like drag racing, we'd rather be racing than anything else. But like I said, Cookie Karen Prem, she's my rock. She keeps me centered. And having her at the race helps settle me down and keep me focused on doing what I got to do, and that's trying to win. So, God, I hope I didn't forget anybody. I mean, that's our current crew. I'd also just like to say hi to Greg Rice. He was a guy on our team for many years, did an awesome job. We had some issues last year. It wasn't necessarily Greg's fault, but Greg's no longer with us. If the situation arises and I need somebody, he's going to be the first guy I'm going to call. And, of course, another guy, Ryan Miller, is home. I fly home. Next thing I know, I get a text message. Ryan's left the team, and he's racing with Coletta. And, I did my initial thought, I was hurt. I'm like, oh, the son of a bitch, he took off. But then I realized How cool is that? This kid loves drag racing. We were the, I don't want to say he used us. We taught him. He was like our kid, our baby. We brought him up on our team, and he went and used that skill and moved on to a pro team to where he now can get paid for it. He moved from Southern California up to Michigan, lives there. He is on. He works on the. God, I don't even know the car. It's one of the top fuel dragsters under Coletta's team, but he's a big dude. He loves mosh pits and so forth. So he fits right in with that team when they have a win. How they all have that big dog pile on the starting line. That's Ryan in his element. So anyway, Ryan. Anyway, there was no race, no pro race this last weekend while we were in Chicago. Ryan comes down from Detroit or wherever he is, somewhere up in Michigan. Comes down from Michigan, hangs out with us for the weekend. And I just told him how appreciative I was of him. He didn't get a big head going pro racing. He still appreciated what we'd done for him and was able to come down and help us out and just have a good weekend with the team. I was so, like I said, so appreciative and just impressed by how much character that showed and value that kid has, that he could come down and help us for the weekend. It was very much appreciated. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, good times. So.
All right, now for you, Chris, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all?
Well, I've got a song that I like to put. Well, just before even that, I mean, just the process, and I used to have all kind of funky rituals. Had to do it this way, had to do it that way, because I thought that was going to make me win or something. And you got to realize at some point, it has nothing to do with any of that. You win because you do things right. The car is prepared. The car is more than prepared, right? Having that car more than prepared, having everybody in sync, having the team doing all their thing. And I'll tell you what, the team on the trailer, when we had a single floor short chaparral trailer, we'd have to put the wing down. And I remember getting out of the car and making a run one time and going back and seeing all the nuts and bolts on the wing tree loose and thinking, son of a bitch, man. So now I walk around behind the car, I check all of the nuts and bolts on the wing. Even though we don't put the wing tree, we don't take it apart anymore, it stays up. It's just a habit I've had that I always do and make sure those nuts and bolts are tight. I then look down at the wheelie bar and I kick it, making sure I make it look like I'm making sure it's tight. What I really do is making sure I know where it is. Because when you have a helmet, by then I have my helmet on, right? I'm completely suited other than my gloves and my hats. But I look down at the wheelie bar, I give it a kick. When you have your helmet on, you have no peripheral vision. And there was one time I walked around back there, checked all the nuts and bolts, and then I just about tripped over the wheelie bar. So what I'm really doing is looking down at that wheelie bar, kicking it, so I know where it is and I know to step over it. I step over the wheelie bar, walk over to the cockpit roll cage, and Goatman finishes suiting me up, puts my gloves on, get in the car, and I've got a couple of mental little games I play with myself. Mostly it's doing the same thing, the same every time. Just trying to make myself, this is probably an overused or silly comment, making yourself one with the machine, because you don't get to practice, right? A run, we figure one lap down the quarter mile, if you take the cost of the season and divide it by how many runs you make, it could cost $1,500 to $2,000 per quarter mile lap. So like I said, you don't get to, there's no do-over. So you got to make sure you have your mind in the same place every time. And if you have to make adjustments to that, well, that's the time you're kind of tweaking and tuning your mindset. I have a song that I run through my head. That's kind of tough because if anybody plays that game with music in their head, you get a certain song in your head. I'll be humming another song in my head. I get in that car. I got to bring it back to that same song every time. I got some little things I run through my head, prayer, start talking to that spirit of drag racing and so forth. And like I said, just kind of getting myself back to the same point. So that by the time that car is starting up on the starting line and they're putting my foot in control of that throttle, I'm that same person every time. And I've taken that concept and handed it over to Kevin Watson, the car chief and crew chief now, that I need you to give me the same car every time. That car is being taken apart and serviced and things change and put back together often, right? Far more than a street car. Think about that, a car of that nature. it's being disassembled in various ways and forms on a regular basis. And that can mean when I strap in there and I start pushing on the throttle, that throttle doesn't feel the same, or the clutch link doesn't feel the same, or the car's idling at a different RPM. If they want to help me be consistent, they need to make the car consistent so that when I get in that car, I'm familiar with it. I know that car, right? And then that's going to make, I'm working to make myself consistent. They make the interface from me to the car the same. Now the whole package is going to be consistent. So that's just part of my ritual, trying to get everything, once that thing is started, everything back to where it's a known, predictable thing. I know your what's the name of your podcast? The Pits of Metal and Motor Chaos, and that concept of chaos, I love it. But the fact is, you want as little chaos as possible when you're on the starting line. You want as much order as possible because you're about to step your foot on 3,500 horsepower. And if there's too much, there's enough chaos with everything just right. There's enough chaos stepping on the throttle of 3,500 horsepower. I want as much order as I can possibly get there to give me, number one, the best chance of coming out alive. Number two, the best chance of having a good time. Number three, best chance of turning on a win line. And that's what it's all about. So,
now I'll
tell you, so I just want to say, I think you asked me earlier about why I do this, and like I said, there's what keeps me going. There's so many things, but I won a national. Our team, I shouldn't say our team, we won a national championship back in 2014, and that is the pinnacle. Being on top of the mountain and looking down. You spend all your other time